What exactly is a stock split? Netflix just had a 10-to-1 stock split. So what does that mean for Netflix? What does that mean for consumers? What does that mean for people who own Netflix stock? And what does that mean for people who might want to buy Netflix stock? Hello and welcome to another KuLAB. My name is Ku. This is our laboratory for learning. Today we're going to take a look at something called a stock split. What is it? We're going to take a look at an article in Barron's today. We're going to dive into what exactly a stock split is, what it means for people who own the stock, what it means for the company. Is it a good sign? Is it a bad sign? Let's take a look at some business vocabulary, some business concepts, and hopefully get a better understanding of a stock split. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our next KuLAB. So as always, I like to give attribution to our authors. So today we're going to be taking a look at an article by George Glover. Okay, let's take a look at this headline. Netflix stock just split. What it means as streaming wars heat up. So in the title is this idea of stock split. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Then the idea of streaming wars heating up. So this idea of something heats up. Something heats up, it gets more exciting. Sometimes it means there's a lot of competition. So when something heats up, it definitely means that you should pay attention. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of new and exciting things around this idea. And this is talking about streaming. So streaming services, the streaming war. So any kind of service, HBO Max or Max as it's now called, Netflix, Paramount, Hulu, all of those services that provide streaming services, something's happening and the streaming war is heating up. Netflix stock is dropping as a 10-for-1 stock split takes effect. The video streamer announced the split in late October. Every shareholder of record as of November the 10th received 9 additional shares after Friday's closing bell. The stock closed down 0.8% at $110.29 on Monday. Splits don't change the value of a company or the dollar amount of equity that each shareholder owns. They're designed to reduce a stock's price to make it more affordable for the individual investors. Though in the days of fractional share purchases, that argument is less compelling than it once might have been. Okay, so let's break all of this down and find out, what does stock split mean? What does equity mean? What does fractional share purchases mean? Okay, let's start at the top. What is a stock split? A stock split in this case is when a company notices that its share price is getting very high, maybe $1,000 a share. That means that retail investors, if you don't remember what a retail investor is, check out this video. Retail investors are priced out. They can't really buy a share of Netflix stock because one share costs $1,000. So what companies do is they do something called a stock split, where they take a stock and they split it into a certain number of parts, sometimes 3, sometimes 2 for 1. In Netflix case, 10-to-1. So every person who owned 1 share of Netflix stock now owns 10. What this does, though, is it doesn't change how much you own of the company. It doesn't change the value of the company. It just makes each individual stock cost a little bit less. So in our example, if Netflix stock cost $1,000, now that you have 10 of them, each stock now costs $100. You have 10 of them, so you still have $1,000 worth of Netflix, but now you have 10 individual stocks. What this usually does is it makes it easier for people to buy and sell shares. So now $100 is sometimes easier for people to buy into. People are more willing to buy a share at $100 as opposed to $1,000. So this increases volatility of shares. It helps the company become a little bit more liquid. As more people buy and sell shares, the company gets some of that money. It can cause the stock price sometimes to go up. Now people can afford a little bit more of Netflix. So people who would not have bought any share of Netflix are now putting in $100, $200 more to get one or two shares. It also makes it easier to sell part of it. If you wanted to still own a part of Netflix, but you didn't want to sell a share that was worth $1,000, because you also have to pay tax on that when you sell it, now you can sell something worth $100 or $200, but you still own a part of Netflix. So that's what a stock split does. Many companies throughout history have done a stock split. So Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, a lot of the big tech firms. Any company whose share price starts getting rather expensive, Tesla, all of these sorts of companies, they will do a stock split. It's very common, but that's essentially what it means. We're going to turn one stock into a certain number. In this case, they did a 10-for-1 stock split. Splits don't change the value of a company or the dollar amount of equity. So in this case, the word equity means how much of something you own. So if you own $1,000 worth of Netflix, you still own $1,000 worth of Netflix. Instead of one big share, it's now 10 smaller shares. Still $1,000, but now it's easier to buy and sell. It doesn't change the equity, how much you own, or it doesn't change the value of the company. Though in the days of fractional share purchases, that argument is less compelling. So let's start actually with the word compelling. When something is compelling, it means persuasive. You want to do it. To be compelled means there's something you want to do. I'm compelled to buy Netflix stock, right? So if something is not compelling, it means I really don't want to do it. So what this is saying is that in the days of fractional share purchases, so fractional share purchases is the idea that you don't have to buy and sell one complete share of something. You can buy a fraction of it. So many times these investing houses will let you buy 0.5% of a share or 50% of a share. So you can buy a fraction of a share just by saying, I want to invest $300 in Netflix. They would keep track of that for you, and you wouldn't own a whole share of Netflix. You would own a fractional share. So what this is saying is that because you could already kind of own a fraction of a share, the stock split isn't that meaningful for people who want to buy into the company. It's usually a good idea for people who own the shares. Now they can buy and sell one or two and not give up all of their equity, all of their ownership. Finally, stock splits are also a way for a company to signal how well they are doing. Sometimes if there is a stock split, the company is saying, we think our stock price is too high and we're continuing to grow. We think it might go even higher, so we're going to split the stocks. It's sometimes a good sign for investors. The company thinks they're doing really well and that the stock price is going to keep increasing. So many times the stock price does increase because there is this faith from the company that we're doing the right thing, we're splitting stocks. So there you have it. We took a look at the idea of stock splits in a nice short focused video. We found out what they were, kind of how they work. Are they good for customers? Are they good for companies? We took a little look at the business vocabulary and the business concepts, and hopefully it was an enjoyable video. If you liked it, do hit that like and subscribe button, really helps us out. And be sure to add a comment below telling us what you think about stock splits. So thanks again, and I hope to see you in the next KuLAB.